For more on the moment, we welcome in CBS Sports NBA analyst and a champion in his own right, the coach, Avery Johnson. Coach, first word goes to you here. Not a pretty game, but a championship effort out of the Nuggets, especially down the stretch, second half of that third quarter and beyond. What do you make of these decisive moments?
Well, congratulations to Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, their entire organization. I've had 2 stints as a player with the Denver Nuggets, even though they were like a cup of coffee. They weren't that long. But congratulations to this organization. One of my former assistants, Popeye Jones, is on the staff. And this incredible team, this team was just a well-oiled machine. They played the right way. If you were going to beat the Denver Nuggets, which probably tonight was their worst game of the playoffs, tonight was the night to do it. They missed free throws. They turned the ball over in the first half. They were real erratic. But you got to give them credit. Their defense came up big. Bruce Brown was huge with that offensive rebound there with about a minute to go and put back. And then the defensive stop, and he made his free throws. Jokic and Murray are 2 special players. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the coming years. Coach Malone did an incredible job, especially challenging his team after that Game 2 loss. Remember, some of us thought he was too hard on his team, but man, he knew how to push the right button. So just overall, congratulations to a wonderful franchise. And I know those folks in the Mile High are really excited.
There's no doubt about that. Coach, you said it there a moment ago. This might have been the worst performance, and it comes in a championship moment out of these Denver Nuggets. As disjointed of 48 minutes that we've seen out of them this postseason. They shoot it 45% from the field, 17% from three. Started one of a whole bunch from three-point range early in this game. How were they able to grind and then turn that corner somewhere around the midway point of that third quarter?
Yeah, even though they were disjointed, the Miami Heat couldn't capitalize on the lack of production from the Denver Nuggets. And I told my wife when Denver was only down by, 1 point to start the third quarter, and I said, man, it feels like the Miami Heat should be up by 15 points. And because they weren't, I knew the Denver Nuggets were going to play well in the fourth quarter. They had a much better third quarter. They made some threes. Michael Porter Jr. finally got a 3 to go. He was 7 for 17 from the field. But again, this team defensively did a masterful job, specifically on Jimmy Butler. Yes, Jimmy Butler made 2 threes there late in the fourth. Yes, there was a questionable call when I thought he kicked out his right foot on the 3-point attempt. He started to get in gear a little bit there, but a little bit too late. He should have been playing more aggressively the entire game. I thought he was too lethargic and too pass-friendly throughout the first 3 quarters of the game. And because of that, the Denver Nuggets have won their first world championship.
So many big picture topics to get to here, whether it's Murray's journey, what this means for Nikola Jokic, a guy in MPJ, and the back issues he had early in his career. But let's stay in this 48 minutes because you talked about Jimmy Butler, a guy who has really willed his team to this very moment and to perform the way that he did, or the way that he did not here in the decisive moments of the season. What did you make of Butler's maybe passiveness, as you allude to there, in the early onsets of this game? Where was Denver most effective in shutting him down?
When you're an athletic player like Jimmy Butler, unlike Jokic, you absolutely need your legs to be 100%. I'm not sure if he was injured or tired, but he just didn't have that same juice and that same boost and acceleration and lift in his game. And because of that, his numbers were down severely in the finals. Whereas a guy like a Jokic, he doesn't rely on athleticism. He's a below the rim player for the most part. He's a very skilled player. So even if he's not, have the type of acceleration or boost, it doesn't affect his game as much. But Jimmy wasn't the same player. There were too many droughts with his scoring, and unlike his scoring prowess in the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks. And because he didn't have another guy like a Jamal Murray on his team, or a Damian Lillard, or somebody like that. Steph Curry's got a Klay Thompson or Jordan Poole when they won the championship. He just didn't have that Robin to his Batman, especially when his game was suffering from scoring.
Well, taking a look at Butler's number here, the Denver Nuggets had the Heat's number and just about everybody else's as well. A comprehensive effort, and I think we've gone long enough without talking about the Joker, Nikola Jokic, now an MVP, not this year for the regular season, but he is a champion. And the note to his resume that he was most in need of, Coach, he played every single role that his team needed to in different moments of this series and of this postseason. How impressed were you about the role that he played here in Game 5?
So impressed. He's one of the most skilled big men we've ever seen in our game. You know, we had guys like Kareem who had the hook shot, you know, Hakeem who had the fadeaways, and, you know, David Robinson was an athletic big guy, two-way player. Shaq was a power player. But rarely have we ever seen a big guy that can shoot threes like this passing ability, this court vision. This is a very unique player. What a joy to watch him play. He doesn't complain to the officials on every call that they miss. He's a player that his teammates love to play with. He lifts up his teammates, got outstanding leadership qualities. Man, as a former player and former coach of the year that's coached a guy like Dirk Nowitzki to an NBA Finals, it is a pleasure to watch this young man who's only 28 years old, who some of his best basketball is still ahead of him.
Well documented, he is the lowest drafted player to lead an NBA champion in scoring in the modern draft era. Previously, it was Tony Parker, drafted 29th, Nikola Jokic, the 41st overall pick. A multi-time MVP and now an NBA champion as well. Coach, not to diminish the light that shines out of that man or his running mate there in Murray, but this was a team that got so much from its depth throughout the postseason. Can you speak to just the job that Michael Malone did in these moments, pulling the right strings at the right time?
Yeah, and it was always a different guy. You know, Christian Brown, you know, he had 15 points in Miami and game 3, and then another time, Bruce Brown came off the bench with 20-plus points. And, you know, Cartavius Pope, he made two big free throws at the end of the game. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. struggled the entire series, but he came alive to hit some big shots tonight. So it was always a different guy. Aaron Gordon, man, you know, game 4 in Miami, how huge was he? Especially on the night when Bam Adebayo had 7 turnovers. And Gordon made a couple of threes. He was terrific inside. But tonight, he was in foul trouble. He had 3 fouls in the first half. So you can keep going on and on. And even when those guys got in foul troubles, other guys stepped up and made plays for him. So this team is really deep, multi-dimensional team. They all can, for the most part, pass, dribble, and shoot. And this team is a team you got to be on the watch out, have on the watch list to be the favorites for next year's NBA Finals.
They were not the favorites preseason. They were not the favorites even heading into this postseason. But I think after a couple months of postseason basketball, we could sit here and say that the best team gets to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. They left little doubt in that, Coach. On the Miami side, this seems like a ceiling that they've reached before. I know they've won under Coach Spo 6 finals in the last 15 seasons for Miami with Spo at the helm. What was the missing piece this year? I know that secondary scoring beyond Butler was an issue, and that issue reared its head here in Game 5 once again. What is that piece? How do they take that step to the next level in your eyes in the seasons to come?
Well, they definitely need another A-level player, superstar. And with this team, you got to remember they're missing Tyler Hero. He was a guy that they gave a contract extension to, so he was expected to, you know, carry some of the scoring load. I believe he had 22 points in his last game at Denver in the regular season. So that scoring from him, because he can score at all 3 levels, that was sorely missed. But they need another scorer. They've been talking about guys like a Damian Lillard. They were able to get by and beat the Boston Celtics, which I know the Boston Celtics would have been a better matchup for the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. But this team exhausted, and all of their resources, they significantly overachieved, and they don't have anything to hold their heads down for.
There's no doubt about that, and officially we can say it. Nikola Jokic is a Finals MVP as well, so add that to the resume. Little doubt in that leading into this moment, Coach. A final word here on Jokic, on the Nuggets, on the season that was. Your lasting image in your mind of this team, of this champion. I know it's going to take some time to galvanize that image, but as you start to put that together, what do you think it may be?
Well, that this team won, they swept the Lakers. This team swept the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. It was no contest. LeBron James, he didn't win a game in the series. That's going to be one of my lasting impressions about this team. And they have a two-man game that's right now the best two-man game in basketball, whether it's dribble handoff, pick and roll with Jokic and Murray. These guys on most nights are going to be unstoppable. And if the rest of the supporting cast are making their threes and making the right plays, this team could easily be a 65-win team next year, have the #1 seed, barring any unforeseen injuries. And I know with all that Walmart money, they're going to make sure they get all their free agents re-signed.
Coach, it's been a great season covering it all with you. I know you like the ponies. Our MVP does as well. Joker postgame saying the job is done. We can now go home, and we know the horses are waiting at home. Now a champion. Coach Avery Johnson, we appreciate you stopping by.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Here's a look at what is a growing list of accolades for the former league MVP, now finals MVP, multiple MVPs and an NBA title. The Joker joining a list with the likes of Kareem, Giannis, Bird, Wilt. There are no misses on this list, and joining quite the elite fraternity on this night, Nikola Jokic.